Hey y'all, welcome back to the Travel Creator Podcast. And I can't even say that out loud because I cannot believe I just said hey y'all. It's like one of those things that I would text people or casually mention it, but I would never greet somebody like that. So I do apologize. But I'm happy you're here with me and I cannot wait for you to meet Grace. Grace is one of those people that you see on the internet, that you be friends with on the internet, that you're like, I just think what you're doing is so cool. And you are just breaking the glass ceilings of entrepreneurship as a lady. And there's nobody I would rather have you learn from on this topic than Grace. So let's get into it.
So my name is Grace. I'm a 28-year-old entrepreneur. I am currently working on starting a fragrance brand. My background is in private equity and investment banking. So I did 6 years in the finance industry and quit about a year ago, a little over a year ago, to take some time off to travel. And I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I decided about halfway through those travels, it's now or never, might as well do it now. And so I had this idea I've kind of had the idea for a while, but it really stuck with me on a beach town in Mozambique, off the coast of Mozambique. And I literally remember where I was, what I was doing on that day, and I've been working on it ever since. Yeah, I filed for the LLC about a month after that, 2 months after that. And then since I got back to the States, I've been working on it full time. So yeah, it's been a journey for sure.
Oh my God. I can't even believe it. I commend you for so many reasons for doing this. I really do. I love watching your stuff. I'm like, oh my God, what is Grace doing today?
Well, you need to talk about that also because I love that you say that. I have been feeling so unmotivated to post recently. Okay, because listen to this. I was posting for I was posting for 6 months, right, when I was traveling, and I swear my content was just starting to take off, getting 10, 20, 30K views on my travel content, right at the end of my trip when I started to pivot to entrepreneurship. And I just did a complete 180, right? I was one day I was giving you travel tips, and the next day I was like, hey, I'm starting a business, from my parents, my childhood bedroom in my parents' house. And so I think the algorithm, hopefully this is what I'm telling myself, the algorithm hasn't figured out yet, who to give my content to. So my reach has just been atrocious, which sucks, but you just gotta keep going.
Yeah,
So
you must.
I'm glad that you said
Yes.
that.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the content. I just want to know how the heck you find the motivation and time
The
to
time.
film and edit, and not just the filming of the remembering to okay, I'm actually going to send emails, but I need to set up my phone, to the I need to put the clips together, to the then voiceover as well.
Yes.
It's not just B-roll. Talk to me about this.
I have so much. Yeah. Okay. So you're so right. The setting up the phone to do something, I'm still not very good at that. I'll finish a meeting and I'll be like, dang it, I wanted to record that. It was such a good conversation. So I'm still getting good about that. But yeah, I've tried to start going into batching content. So I have a content calendar set up. I've talked about it a little bit on my Instagram, but I try to have an idea of what I'm going to post starting at the beginning of the week. So I'm not scrambling every morning being what am I posting today? And I would say in terms of editing, I'm trying to be really good about anytime I take content every few days, organizing it. So a B-roll folder, a very specific business folder. So, the really behind the scenes, hands-on stuff. So that way, when I want to put together something, I can just pull from all those folders and it's much easier than digging through camera roll. Cause as you well know, that takes so much time.
Okay, I just have to get in here and remind you that episode 2 of this entire show is how to set up a content organization system in Asana. And to be honest, it is so full of valuable resources. I have considered removing it because it's just so juicy. So if you really want to get on the inside of my head when it comes to organizing content, go ahead and take your thumb and scroll all the way back down to episode 2. And I wish you luck.
And voiceovers, I will randomly have these ideas throughout the day. I'll just be working on something random and be like, oh, that's a really good real idea. And so I just quickly script it out, record it. I recorded for the first time in the car the other day. I was driving and I was like, this is a really good idea. And I just winged it without a script, which I haven't done ever. So starting to incorporate that, but I would just say practicing really has helped a lot and just getting quicker. But the time is tough, trying to decide what to balance between business and content, because especially as I was saying, I haven't been getting a lot of engagement, or not, I shouldn't say engagement. I've been getting a lot of reach on my content. So it's been not as motivating to put in the time. But one last point on content and motivation. It has been the most unexpected networking tool ever. Like, no, ever. So, as I said, I came from a background in industrials private equity. Like, I have no experience in the like CPG, consumer
No one would
beauty.
know. No one would
Okay,
know.
thank you. Because it feels very foreign to me, all of it. Like product-based business, just not my forte. And once I started posting on TikTok, I started out by reaching out to people on LinkedIn, right? And I didn't want to pay for the premium because that's actually so expensive. Did not realize. So I was sending like 4 messages a day to all these people, not getting any responses. I think I had one girl respond. And then I started posting on TikTok, and all these entrepreneurs, like brand design, packaging experts, marketing, PR, all these people have reached out to me, and we've connected both on the phone and in person in LA. And this past week, I've been driving all over LA because I'm finalizing my fragrances actually this week. And so I literally connected with probably 20 plus people on TikTok who are LA based and were willing to try all of my fragrances. So I've been just running around, and that has been the number one networking tool. So that's been probably the most motivating, like what's keeping me going while my reach isn't doing so well.
Wow. Is there a big difference between like how your content is performing on TikTok versus Instagram? Or meh?
I would say it gets a ton of engagement on TikTok. My videos aren't things that are going viral. I think, well, I know they're not. I don't really know why. But when I post on TikTok, I get tons of comments. Almost every video gets probably like 1,000 views, which is not big at all, but I get 20 plus followers from every video, which is a huge rate,
Yeah.
it's a really good ratio. So, and a ton of comments, ton of DMs. The reach is about the same, but the engagement is much better on TikTok.
Yes. Okay. That's great about content. I'll let you know if I have other questions to say.
Okay.
I want to know about, it's so hard to do anything consistently. And especially when it's like new, like when you first start something, you like don't know what you don't know. And it's like amazing.
Yes.
You're like, great, I'm going to do this thing and it's going to be great. And then you hit a roadblock and it's like this, okay, here we are.
Yes.
But like, how the heck do you just, have there been times where you're like, I'm ready to just be a barista or something? I just don't want to. How do you keep going?
You mean in terms of the content or the
In
business?
terms of just building this business, this brand.
That's a really good question. I feel like I enjoy the challenge. I really love learning. I love trying new things. I love kind of putting myself outside of my comfort zone. And so I've actually enjoyed a lot of the difficulties that have come up. There's definitely been times where I'm like, oh my God, I really don't want to do this. But I see such a vision for this brand, in the first year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Like there's so much more besides just selling, which again, I'm not going to talk about my long-term 5-year plan, but I just think there's some really cool stuff that can come out of the way that I'm positioning this brand outside of just going directly to a consumer. And so I think it's the knowing your why that keeps you going. And I've heard that on so many podcasts before, and I was kind of like, yeah, sure, whatever. But it's so true. Like I'm so passionate about being an entrepreneur, and I'm so excited to continue to learn and grow and do all these things that are kind of outside of my comfort zone. And so thinking about that long-term vision has helped me keep going.
Oof. Okay. What keeps me going is knowing that I am building something so freaking awesome that will allow me to live the life I want to live, not only right now, but later on. Like, I just constantly think about the freedom I'm giving myself and also my future self. Especially on the hard days. I just remember, and I saw something beautiful on the internet recently that I will try and paraphrase here. It was like, what a joy it is to be stressed out about building your own empire or like controlling your own future. And I feel that very deeply. So I just kind of remember, like, why am I doing this? Like, what am I doing this for? And I'm doing this so that I can do something that I love to do and also not have to do it all of the time. So I'm grinding my little booty away, and I don't mind during this time of my life so that later on I could be sipping Aperol spritzes on super yachts with some of my best friends. And no, it's not just about having a ton of money, it's having resources so I can give those resources to people who I love, organizations I care about, so that not only I benefit, but in order to help other people, you need a lot of resources, and there's a lot of help I want to give. Do you have like a set schedule of what you try and get like, okay, like Mondays are for XYZ, Wednesdays are for whatever, but I also don't even know if that's applicable based on it's so different too. To me, it's so foreign of like a physical product versus something digital. But do
Yeah.
you have any sort of schedule or no?
I no. I wish I did. I feel like I had it on my kind of to-do list to be like, okay, Monday is going to be content day and Tuesday is going to be like deep thinking day and then Wednesday is going to be meeting day. That just is all
Yeah.
out the window. Like it just I should be better. I try to time block my days so I give myself, an hour for content and then 2 hours for deep think and then the rest of the day is meetings, but no, it's pretty whatever needs to happen that day happens.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
that way too. I try so I like even have it written out like, okay, Mondays are this day. I try as well. It's really hard because things come up too that you don't expect, and it's the worst. It's the worst.
Exactly. Exactly.
If you could go back 200 days, because you're about 200 days into building this thing.
I think 208 today.
208. Okay. If you
Wow.
could go back 208 days and talk to yourself, what would you say?
Okay, I would tell myself that everything takes longer than you think it will. Like whatever you have on your timeline for said activity, just double it because it's going to take longer than you expected. I have already had to delay my launch once by 3 months because of just product development. Like obviously the product is the most important part to me. And so getting that right is so, so critical. And so instead of staying on my timeline and just going with what was the best at that time, I was like, no, I want to be at a place where I am 100% confident in this product, as I think, most good brands do. And so that is probably number one. Number two is surround yourself with the right people. So I had a really hard time finding my manufacturing partner. It took me a very long time. And I am so happy that I was patient with it because that has just been the best partnership. She really understood like the long-term vision and what I wanted to do with the brand. And a lot of people were more transactional that I spoke to. And I really had a point where I was like, okay, well, this is the best that I'm going to get instead of waiting. And then a month later, I found this woman. So I'm really glad that I took that time, but just continuing to keep that like front of mind because I would definitely say there are other times, which I'll get into right now, where you go with what's first and it's definitely not the best. And the last thing I'll say is try to do everything yourself before you outsource it. I thought because I was coming from a finance background, I would have no idea how to do the branding part of things. And so I immediately found someone to do that and tried to hire someone to do that. And it just was a disaster. And that was not on their part. It was not on, luckily, it wasn't a lot of money because some of these branding agencies
Yeah.
like quoted me 10K plus to do my
Right.
branding. So it was not that, not that big of a financial mistake, but more of a time mistake. And it wasn't her fault by any means. It was my fault because I hadn't done the exercise of trying to write down my brand identity or create a brand guidelines book. So I wasn't really accurately able to describe or communicate my brand the way it was in my head. And so then I spent the next, honestly, few months going through the branding and just doing it myself, doing all the packaging myself, everything that I thought that I couldn't do. I just sat down and did it. And then about a month ago, a branding agency reached out to me on TikTok again, and said, we'd like to do a little brand uplift for you, packaging up like facelift, I'll say, for you at no cost. And so, yeah, perks of posting. And so they did that. And I feel like that experience was a million times better because I had already gone through the exercise of doing all of that myself. And so I was way better able to communicate and just, they really saw the vision because I had put the work and time in ahead of time.
That's insane that they reached
Yeah.
out to you. I mean, of course you're gonna say yes. Like, of course. Like,
Oh,
let's see
yeah.
what happens.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Especially because like on my socials, I always talk about like, I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to branding or packaging, but I'm doing it all anyway. And so that was really helpful.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
How the heck are you learning all of this?
How to do all of this?
Yeah, are you just
Oh my
using like
gosh.
YouTube, asking people?
Trial and error. Honestly, also I put so much on my close friends on my personal Instagram. So I have my public page and then I have a personal one with all my friends from like high school and college. And I have a close friends there with probably 40 people. And I just post, do you like option one or option two? And that's been going on for months. And so a lot of the decision has been coming from that in terms of just like packaging. But yeah, a lot of it's trial and error, looking at other people's packaging, walking through Sephora, picking things up, being like, what do I like? What do I don't like? So yeah, it's definitely just a process.
Hey y'all, this is Marie, the editor of the show you're listening to right now. And did you know that your very own Laura Haley is the researcher and writer of my podcast? It's a travel, comedy, history, not very PG podcast called The Culture Cult Show. And if you can't get enough of Laura here and you want more of her, check her out on my podcast, where we tell you the wildest stories from every country in the world. She was actually recently on for a special episode about Denmark's insane Mad King and the scandalous royal affair that happened. So if you really love Laura and you really want to support her, come check out her amazing witty writing and research on my show, The Culture Cult Show. Check it out in the show notes. Okay, back to the episode.
Okay, what has been maybe something that surprised you of like, oh my gosh, I figured it out. This was easy. This was way simpler than I thought it was going to be.
I would say marketing ideas. Obviously, I haven't started marketing yet because we haven't launched, but I don't have a background in marketing. Again, I'm finance ops, like in Excel 24/7. And I've had so many marketing ideas and content ideas and experience ideas and pop-up ideas that I think are a little bit unique and will be fun to put on. And that list is never ending. I'm always adding to it. And I love that aspect of it. And that has been surprisingly easy to think of all that stuff. Now, do I have the budget to put all this on?
Okay.
We're gonna start scrappy.
I saw, you should keep this in mind. I saw a
Yeah.
coffee company that they were like, our marketing budget is 0. And they went to IKEA with their product and like staged all these different photos and everything. It looked it looked amazing.
So I have to say, I went on Facebook. I found a photographer who was looking to build his portfolio in the like brand space and is willing to do my shoots for free. So I'm doing that at no cost. And we're just going to be running around LA. We're doing our first shoot on June 7th, I think. Running around LA, shooting out in the wild. I went and scouted locations a couple weeks ago on that. So you just got to get crafty, It's kind of fun.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Do you feel like I'm just also like projecting my own personal business, but
Yeah.
do you feel like this like it consumes you? I struggle with productivity guilt where I feel like, okay, it's time to relax. I feel guilty that I'm not working on things. How do you manage
Yes.
that? Does that happen to you?
Yes, it definitely does. Because as you know, if the only person you're impacting is yourself, right? So if you're not putting in the work, that's just hurting you. Now, obviously, there's a balance of putting in work and enjoying life. And I think, again, a lot of my brand is centered around getting out there, trying new things, meeting new people, enjoying your life, creating a life that you want to enjoy. And I love entrepreneurship. I want to keep doing this, for the rest of my life. And so it's important for me to keep that balance because I don't know, I want to keep enjoying it. And so I think I do have, I work a lot, right? Like this whole week I've been up at 6:30 every day and basically working until I go to bed at like 9 or 10. So they're long days, but when it's fun, it's a little bit easier. And then, I am going to Colombia for 2 weeks. So I'm going to be working there. But again, I'm like creating this life that I'm enjoying. So
Yeah. Oh my
I don't
God.
know.
I think my productivity guilt comes from being an internet user because we're constantly given the idea that we need to be working super hard and super long hours all of the time in order to hit goals that the internet makes up for us. And that I have internalized and definitely feel guilt about. Plus, like, it's so hard because there's always things that need to be done, but like in order to do those things, I need to like rest. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like my productivity guilt comes from a hustle culture that I have put myself into. And now, like, one of the most eye-opening things for me has been I listened to a podcast episode called The Mindset Mentor by Rob Dial, and he has built a mega business, and maybe even a few of them, to be honest, but his episodes are short and to the point, and I love them. But in one of his, he talks about how he built a business and he burnt himself the hell out, and he was like, this is not it. This is not the answer. Like, I know everybody tells you that that's the answer. Like, you have to grind so hard, and like, that's not the case because I became so sick physically, mentally, emotionally from doing that it was not worth the reward. And so I keep that in mind. Like, oh my gosh, here's this white broy guy telling me that I don't have to grind so hard. Then great, I'm not going to build something amazing. But I'm also like, for the first time, to be honest, to like pull back the curtain a little bit, I have never had so much work to do as I do right now, but I also have never felt so much calm and peace and so much unbotheredness. And I think it's because I'm like, listen, I'm not living my life to clickety clack on this computer. I know that what I just said earlier in this episode is like, I'm working super hard now so I can enjoy life later, but I also want to enjoy the moments that I also have now. So it's just accepting that it's going to be difficult to get where I want to be. And the beauty is that I can work as hard as I want to right now or not at all. And I'm just leaning more into this soft CEO era instead of hustle because I know that like millionaires sleep, millionaires rest, and the people who do the most productive work actually take care of themselves.
Yeah, it's all about balance though.
It is. What advice would you have for somebody who is thinking, they haven't started yet, they're thinking about starting a physical product business?
Okay, you're not going to want to hear this, but run a financial model. It was the first thing I did. And it was, do the numbers make sense, right? You know, if I have this really cool idea for I don't know, a cream, like a face cream, and I want to sell it in line with, you know, for $30, I want it to be affordable luxury or whatever it is. You need to really think about, okay, how much am I going to put into marketing? What am I going to do this? What am I going to do? Packaging. Is it going to take 5 years to make money? Are you going to need to raise money? Does this work even like numbers wise? And it was a very simple model, like just XYZ. Does this make sense financially? Then after you do that, I would just start calling your friends and asking, you know, talking about the idea, saying, is this something that interests you? Is this like a problem you have, a pain point you have? I would say the best business ideas are solutions to pain points. And when someone goes, oh my gosh, you know, that's such a good idea, I've never thought about that, that's the response you want to have. I wouldn't say fragrance is solving a pain point per se, but I think that should be what you're looking for.
Did you ever run into trouble where you're, maybe not trouble, but when you're asking so many people's opinion on things that it just made it so much harder? I find that too.
Yeah, definitely. On so many aspects. I would say, especially with trialing these fragrances this week with all of these people, because I've been trying to get as much opinion as possible. Fragrance is so subjective. You know, it's just totally up to the person. And so I would say take it with a grain of salt and kind of go with your gut, you know, in some instances, but try to have a little bit of data. Like when I was thinking about starting fragrances, I made sure the numbers worked. And then I did some market research. So I said, you know, is this a good market to be in? Is my price point, is that a good place to be in? What does the growth trajectory look like? McKinsey has a lot of really good research reports on the beauty industry. So I was looking at those a lot, backed up by data, right? It's expected to grow 5 to 7%. My category is the highest growing over the next 5 years. The M&A market, mergers and acquisitions, so getting acquired, it's a good place to be over the next 5 years. So there's definitely some data that you should put into it too. I would say it's a mix of, you know, art and science, as they say.
What I'm hearing is that your next business venture should be teaching people how to build businesses.
I am doing some consulting work right now, actually. So I've been funding my living expenses a little bit through some consulting. So I would love to start a fund someday and be able to invest in consumer brands and be able to provide some mentorship. I mean, I love this space so much. So
That's so cool.
yeah.
Okay, I have your Instagram open. Let me are you editing every single day?
Yeah, I mean, I try to batch edit, but I usually end up editing every single day. What's annoying is Instagram has been really pushing my reels that are just 7 seconds with text over the video. And I love doing the voiceovers. Like I love communicating a story and really connecting with people, but they just don't push those ones. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just go for the lazy option and start posting a few more of these. I don't know.
It's just I'm just like so excited for you. I just can't, I just commend you because it's so difficult to do what you're doing. And then it's just a whole added layer to share about it online.
Yeah. Especially if it fails, you know? Not that I think it will, but it's that added, like, what if?
I didn't want to ask you about that, but
yeah.
I mean,
go for it. Nothing is off limits.
Like it is. It's tough. It's tough when you try and do something in public like that and it doesn't go well. Like right now, I posted a YouTube video. I'm like trying to. So I move into a new apartment in July, and I'm filming every week. Yeah, I'm trying to pay my entire year's worth of rent in the next 3 months through UGC, which is new to me. And that is an insane goal, and I'm really nervous about it, but I decided I'm like, I'm gonna vlog this experience and share about it. And now it just hit me yesterday. I was like, what if what if it doesn't work out?
First of all, it will. I love that you're posting about it publicly. And second of all, I feel like it's important to show people it doesn't work every time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if this is going to work, but part of business and entrepreneurship and content and all this is learning how to pivot and learning how to do something else and figure it out, right? That's kind of what you just have to do in these situations. And so maybe that's also what you're going to be documenting is figuring it out or pivoting or what if it works, what if it doesn't? But yeah, I feel like we hear all these success stories. And when you really listen into a lot of the success stories, there are about 5 more before that that were failures, or maybe not failures, but learning opportunities. And so I think you need to approach every situation as a learning opportunity.
Not me talking for a whole fucking minute and then it not recording. Okay. So yes, I have been working with UGC, working on UGC, trying to become a UGC creator on the side of my other businesses services, just as like another income stream. And it's been going really well so far, actually. I have secured deals, I've made money, I have, worked with people that want to have long-term collaborations, which is fantastic. And it's just shown me that like when you put your focus into doing one thing and being really good at it, you will make so much more progress, because notoriously I'm someone who will make a lot of tiny progress in a lot of different directions rather than making really good progress in one direction. Shout out 1D. But it's, opened my eyes to the idea that everything else in my business is so shockingly possible if I sit down, shut up, and just get on with it. It's also made me realize, and I want to make a whole nother podcast episode on this idea, but really there are very few things that just move our business forward. Like there's like so many things on our to-do list right now that are like nice to haves and we don't even realize it. Whereas there's like 3 to 5 things that are actually the most important that are moving your business forward. For example, me updating this testimonial on my portfolio is not as important as me following up with the first cold pitches I sent. Do you see what I mean? Like everything seems so important when you're so swamped in it, but when you're actually like have that tangible goal you're trying to achieve, it's like, okay, I can clearly see what is important and what is not, and a lot of it is just not important. I digress. If you are a UGC creator or want to be one, I am a part of Maddie Garrett's UGC Accelerator, and it has been absolutely incredible so far and just like given me my joy back in content creation, to be honest. It's so fun to do something new, especially when you can make money from it. And if you want to be a part of her program with over 100 other creators in this community, you can use the link I have in the description to get 10% off of the course with the code Laura10. So I hope to see you in the program, and I'll leave that link in the show notes. What would you say to people who are trying to balance the work and the life? I know we talked about it a little before, like you just have to enjoy what you're doing. But if you have any other thoughts or feelings on what that looks like practically, because it's so easy to be like, oh my God, just stop working at like 5 and then go outside. But it's like, this is like, you are building your empire. And it's like, so it's sometimes like I find I'm working later because I'm excited about like what I know can happen, but it also can be so draining. What does that look like for you?
I would say like really practical advice. I time block my days so that I get stuff done, and I write down the number one thing I want to get done that day. And so I feel accomplished in getting that done. So if I close my laptop at 5 or 6 p.m., I feel good because I finished that one thing. I would also say taking a break to exercise and taking that time for yourself helps night and day, just with everything. And then, I would say I personally, I love working on Saturday mornings because it feels like I'm getting ahead. I love just having a cup of coffee and working for like 2 to 3 hours in the morning. It doesn't have to be a lot. And then closing my laptop and feeling really good the rest of the day because I feel like I got ahead because I worked on a Saturday, and I love that feeling. So I don't know, do what do what works for you. But I think
Yeah.
it is important to, I mean, again, like I'm going to Colombia in a couple weeks. I'm going to Europe. I really love travel and I love prioritizing that. And so it's kind of a work hard, play hard situation. But I also fully love enjoying life and hanging out with my friends and doing that kind of stuff. So it's just, yeah.
It's hard. And I always used to think like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna like get this routine down. But it's like a lifelong battle to find how to do it correctly. And so I've let that go now of like,
Yeah.
there's no formula we can have here.
No, it's a lot of trial and error. Like
It
what
is.
works, what doesn't. Yeah.
It's just an experiment. You lived in LA previously, right?
Mhm.
Were you excited to go back with like this new adventure? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love LA. I love being able to be outside almost every single day of the year, every single day of the year. All my friends are here. I lived here for 4 years, but it's definitely the lifestyle. I love being able to be on the beach. You can drive to skiing, you can drive to hiking. There's always something going on. So I do love LA. I will say it is one of the most expensive cities in probably the world, and
Uh-huh.
without a stable income, that was probably the scariest part about moving back is the financial
It is.
anxiety around no stable paycheck, whereas the last time I was here, I had a very stable paycheck. And so that's been tough, but no, I love LA. And it's been a great place also to be starting a consumer packaged good brand because there's such good networking opportunities out here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I hope to see you on Shark Tank.
Maybe one day. I don't know if this business is fit for Shark Tank.
I don't
but-
know. You could get on QVC.
So someone suggested that. So maybe.
Oh my gosh. I love that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, obsessed with you building this. It's so exciting. It's
Yeah,
so
it's been so much fun, honestly.
fun. I'm glad you're having fun. And I like that you mentioned like you don't want to go so hard. It's so hard. Like you don't want to go so hard because you're gonna burn yourself out about it, like if you
Yeah.
like, throw yourself into it. But yeah, it's also your future.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
worst.
it's so true.
I
Yeah.
saw this reel yesterday. This guy was like, it was so funny. He was like, I don't have anything I have to do today. Nothing. But there are quite literally 1 million things I should be doing today. And I was like,
Oh
yeah.
God, it's so accurate. I was just on the phone with it was either my dad or my mom, and I was like, well, I have my to-do list for today, and then I have my to-do list for tomorrow, and then I have my to-do list for next week, and then next month, and then the rest of the year. So, even if I finish today's to-do list,
Mhm.
I don't actually have anything I need to do today, but I have about 1 million things I could be doing.
Yeah. I tend to move a lot of things to the weekend. And then the weekend comes and I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
It's like
It's Saturday.
I
And then-
have done what I needed to do, but then I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
no.
No,
And I
it's so
try to
true.
like not do client stuff on the weekends too. So then I feel like extra bad because it's stuff that is super important that I really should be working on that I'm
Yeah.
not.
No, I get it.
It's the worst, but also the best. Sometimes I'm like, could just be a barista, I could just,
You could.
I don't want to.
Always an option. It's always a fallback.
It is. I don't think I'm cut out for it, but that's all right.
Right.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I have all my questions answered from you, but if there's anything else you want to say that you're like, I got to say this and I will feel good today, checkbox accomplished.
So you can find me on my website at shop evoque, which is spelled EVOQUER. It's French for to evoke. That's the name, .com. And there you can put your email in and you'll be notified as we do stuff. So I am hosting a launch event in LA in September. So if anyone is there, they're more than welcome to come. I'll send out details on that. It'll also be on my socials. The last thing I'll say is it's non-toxic. So it's a clean fragrance by Sephora beauty standards. It would have a green check mark next to it. So if you're someone who's very into non-toxic stuff, I would never develop something I wouldn't wear. So it is all clean by those standards. But yeah.
Wow. Do you feel like looking back over 200 days ago, can you even believe that you are here now? Or does it feel
No.
like surreal, or does it feel like, oh my gosh, I feel behind? Like, how are you feeling?
It feels scary because I have a bunch of big expenses coming up. Like I'm now bulk ordering a ton of stuff. And so
Scary. Yeah.
up until now, it hasn't been, I mean, there's definitely been some big expenses, but it's now going to be like consistently big expenses. And I would say that's one of the hardest parts of entrepreneurship is obviously the financial stress that you go through. So yeah, scary, but exciting for sure.
It is exciting. You can do it. You can
Thank
do it.
you.
You
Thank
have
you.
done it. You will do
Yes.
it. It's so awesome. There's nothing harder than trying to build your own empire, especially when we are constantly surrounded by so much noise and opinions and ideas. I've been saying recently, like, the idea of a business or your content journey is not that difficult. Hear me out. You have goal A, you have point A, you have like your services, and you have point B, which is somebody buying your services. And in the middle, between A and B, is all of the freebies you download, all of the courses you take, all of the Instagram reels you save on marketing advice you'll probably never come back to, all the YouTube videos you add to your watch later list, like all of this noise. When really the most important parts are just doing the damn thing or getting somebody to buy or participate or be a part of what you are selling or creating. That is it. It is very simple, but it is not easy. And Grace walked us through exactly what that is looking like for her. And I have to tell you, she told me some things behind the scenes that I will not be sharing with you, but oh my God, I will be the first one on this freaking wait list for her product. And I cannot wait to support somebody else. It's so fun to watch people you know and like care about grow and make something so amazing. And I'm so glad she could join us and share about her business journey. So thank you, Grace. One quick housekeeping note I have for you. If you are a longtime listener of this show, yes, I'm looking at you. Los Angeles, Connecticut, Seattle, Washington, Sydney, New South Wales, Grand Prairie, Alberta, Richmond, BC, Daly City, California, Melbourne, Victoria, Raleigh, North Carolina, and a place in Germany that I'm not going to try and pronounce. If you have been listening to this show, I'm going to need you to hop on over to Apple Podcasts and take 2 seconds out of your day. Maybe this can be one of your 7% tasks, if you know, you know, and leave me a little review. It really does help me share more of this advice and reach more people. And to be honest, I haven't asked for reviews on this show in months. So this would really be a huge shout out, but none of this would be possible without any of y'all listening. The last thing I need you to do is go and connect with Grace. You can find her handle linked in the show notes. Tell her I sent you, like some of her posts, and genuinely follow along on this journey because it is one you don't want to miss. Well, I appreciate you. I wish you the happiest of creating, and I'll see y'all next week.